On January 4th, America's high school welcomed teachers to return to campus. On January 5th, the first set of students came back to traditional school. As more people keep getting vaccinated, life has felt slightly normal. But what is normal when you consider this post-pandemic world? Today we depend on technology more than ever before, especially schools across the globe. Online has become a necessary tool to educate our children. But has online school been helping our students or hurting them? On this two-part documentary series, we will explore the effects online school has on students and teachers. In part 1, we will learn the student's perspective, and in part 2, we will learn the teacher's perspective. We will blur the lines and come to an understanding of what we've all been going through. Now, let's start simple. How do students really feel about online school?
I think it depends on how, I guess it depends on the type of person you are, because I know I have some friends that they struggle, and then I have other friends that they find it a lot easier than coming to school. But for me, I think it really just depends on how I am mentally, I guess you can say.
Online school works for some students who enjoy their own company, like introverts. But most of the population struggled with the transition from traditional to online. Extroverts. And this made the situation a lot more harder. Moving on, how do students feel about going back to campus?
I like it 1,000 times better. I think it's so much more fun to actually have like a school experience somewhat, and especially to be here during my senior year, I like it a lot.
I feel a little bit more better, kind of. I just don't like that we have to join through the computer even though we're still on campus. I just kind of wish the teachers somehow would do like a live session for the other students that are online. But I think that's the only thing that I find negative, because it does feel like we're just at home but in a classroom.
To be honest, I feel a lot happier that I'm back on campus because I miss seeing people and walking around, and I just miss the whole normalcy of it all, before coronavirus.
Students are happier in campus because they have the opportunity to interact with their friends and teachers, giving them the sense of normality that we used to have before COVID. Now, which one of the two do the students prefer, traditional or online?
I prefer traditional because sometimes being at home with family, so many other things going on, it causes a distraction when you're trying to get schoolwork done, and then the whole day you're just kind of tired, you're near your room, so you're just like, I want to go to sleep rather than being in class. So when you're here and you can't really do much but do your work, and then you're also getting that help from teachers, it makes you a lot more productive, it makes you a lot more focused, and you get to build those close bonds and connections with your teachers that many of us are not being able to through a computer screen.
I prefer traditional. Personally, because I think school traditionally, I learned more, and I made more friends, and I had I don't know, I would always see something forward to coming to school. And now with this pandemic and how school is now, it's kind of oh well, I have to go to school. I don't see nothing forward looking to it now when it's like this.
Why do I prefer traditional? Because I just feel more productive, and I gotta have a routine. So I feel like if I'm able to stick by that routine, I'm able to feel more productive throughout my day.
Most students feel more focused and more productive when they're in traditional school, and it makes perfect sense. Studies have shown that when we wake up early and we get dressed up, we shower, and we dress professionally, we tend to be more productive throughout our day because we step into that mindset, and that's what we need. Furthermore, what are the challenges that some of these students faced at home online?
My sleeping schedule. Either I would fall behind on work and stay up late doing work, and then falling asleep during class at home, so I'm in my own bed, or even just knowing the fact that I'm at home doesn't let me focus. Like, cause my house is my comfort zone. So when it comes to like doing things that I need to do, it's really hard for me.
A lot came with my grandma. She can't do much for herself, so me having to like be at her beck and call every 5 to 10 minutes, making sure she's fine, making sure she eats, while also being accounted attended for. Then my mom's working from home, so sometimes I had to be like, sometimes when she needed the kitchen, I needed the kitchen, and when she needed the living room, I needed it, because we both had like the same thing to do on the exact same day. So it got really hard trying for us to find a balance.
This is an important one. The challenges that students face at home is what most people misunderstand about kids who do school online. Students have multiple responsibilities at home, and they find themselves in difficult situations that prevents them from giving their 100% in school. It's not up to us. We don't put ourselves in the situation that the life around us puts us in. We just simply have to deal with it. But more on that later. Now, was there any challenges that students had to face at campus?
Well, obviously the obvious big challenges, if I'm safe, because I have grandparents and I want to make sure that I don't give them anything, but the school's doing really good in taking precautions. They check my e-swipe every morning, they give me hand sanitizer, they have shields, we wipe down our desks. So the school's taking good precautions in that case.
Challenges, I would say it does get a bit lonely since there's not as many people in the classrooms. There's only like 4 max, so it's not as populated. So
Socializing, I think I have lost my socializing skills a little bit. Now I'm just kind of like a little bit more quiet, and before like I would talk a little bit with the teacher or like be more social.
The pandemic has definitely affected the way we socialize with others and has definitely increased our socializing skills. This is bad because humans are very social creatures and we need networking to survive. Moreover, let's see if students think online school is as effective as traditional school.
For some people. For me personally, no. I feel like online school wasn't good for me. It wasn't good how I was learning. I like being face to face and seeing my teachers and asking the questions. But for some kids, it's completely different. Some kids, they feel better learning where they get the assignment, they get it and go.
I think traditional school is more effective because I feel like you can like have the kids more involved, and I feel like kids will be looking forward to being more involved, because don't get me wrong, school can get boring, but a teacher can always like spice up like the lesson or something, and it's easier like that than through a computer.
I would say no, because you're not as focused, you're not as attentive to the teachers, and I would say no.
Well, it depends, because some people like don't pay attention when there's not somebody enforcing them to. You know, people kind of drift off. Like, I know I wanted to a couple times where I just didn't want to do anything and go back to sleep. But I think traditional school like is a better way of feeling normal, and it kind of makes you kind of want to focus.
Most students agree that online school is not as effective as traditional school. There's no doubt. Dropout rates have increased more than ever before since the pandemic started. And this is just high school students we're talking about. We need to consider our younger generations. How will younger generations be affected by this new pandemic world?
I'm very worried how they will work socially, because with me having a little sister starting pre-K and kindergarten next year, I'm very scared that maybe she won't be as productive and function as well with being with teachers, being with other kids, learning how to work together.
I think they'll do fine. I mean, I think they won't be as social as we were as kids, but I think eventually they'll get more social.
Imagine a young kid observing this world. Everyone wearing masks, everybody socially distanced. This is the world they will have to adapt to. Yes, children are very resilient, but no doubt they will grow up in a world much different than the world we used to live in. Moving on, these are the final thoughts and advice that your fellow students have for you.
I really recommend coming back to school. There are a lot of precautions if you're worried about COVID-19 or anything. And I just think it's a really better experience than just staying home, and you're much more productive.
Just I feel like if you guys get the chance, come back to school, because it's honestly nice seeing old friends, seeing old teachers, especially if you're a senior like me. It's nice to spend these last moments with people you love dearly.
Those like at home, like I get it. Some parents don't want their kids to come out because they're scared of the pandemic and everything. But if you think about it, your kid is just behind their screen all the time, 24/7. And even if they do get off the screen, they're gonna end up going back on their phone and watching TV. Like I feel like it would be best to send them out so they can get a sense of being normal again. Because you just gotta get back into the normal feeling, especially with everything that's going on.
Everyone has mixed feelings about online school. My purpose is to blur the line between students and teachers. I want my community to understand each other and what we have to go through. I want students to understand what teachers have to go through, and I want teachers to understand what students have to go through. That way, it will be a little bit easier every day together. Students have struggled adapting to this new world. But how are teachers holding up? Well, stay tuned for part 2, where we will explore the opinion that teachers have on online school. I'm Efrain Escarcega, and this has been Online versus Traditional.